Hi, welcome. So, after finishing My Brilliant Friend, I felt this very specific kind of emptiness. The kind you get after a really good book when you are not ready to say goodbye to the characters yet. I honestly did not expect to connect with a story this deeply or to think about it days after finishing. There is something about Elena Ferrante's writing that feels both intimate and universal. She doesn't just tell a story, she gets under your skin. She writes girlhood, friendship, insecurity, ambition, all with this raw honesty that's sometimes uncomfortable, but so true. Her writing in the first book was slow, steady, and so deeply human. Nothing felt rushed, and yet everything mattered. She made me care about these characters in a way I wasn't expecting. Their small decisions, their insecurities, their hopes, their disappointments. I think that's why I fell in love with the first book. So today we are stepping into the second book in the Neapolitan series. I'm ready to see who they become, how their friendship evolves. If you have already finished the Neapolitan series, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing how differently everyone connects to these characters. Okay, let's begin. Book 2 starts now. Talk to you later.
Like, I just have no credits, bro.
I'm about 70% through the second book of the Neapolitan series, The Story of a New Name. This book continues right after Lila and Stefano's marriage. And like the first book, is narrated from Lenu's perspective. Lenu's character feels very consistent with the first book. She still lacks confidence, still doubts herself, and continues to compare herself with Lila. At times, I even find her selfish, especially in the way she uses a boy's affection for her. Despite everything, she remains anxious and insecure. On the other hand, Lila's marriage is clearly unhappy. Even though I don't fully know what she's thinking at this point in the story, I can sense that she's still the same strong-willed person with firm inner beliefs. She rarely expresses them openly, but I'm looking forward to seeing more of her strengths surface. Lenu often uses Lila as a reference point for comparison, yet Lila treats her kindly. It feels as though Lila genuinely wants to encourage Lenu, especially by pushing her to continue her studies. The rhythm of the second book is very similar to the first one. There aren't dramatic ups and downs. So if you don't like the pacing of the first book, you may not enjoy the second one either. Personally, I'm enjoying it so far, even without big plot twists. I can feel the emotional power behind the characters. For example, Lila is trapped in a marriage that she doesn't like, but given the social norms of that time, she can't easily escape, knowing how strong and determined she is. I'm really curious to see what she will do. I will keep reading to find out more. One last thing, it's important to read the first book before the second, because understanding the characters from the beginning makes the later stories much more meaningful. I'm about halfway through the book, The Story of a New Name. It feels like a long read, and the story is still very much rooted in the everyday lives of the characters. I keep asking myself what Lenu is really feeling. I think Lila described it. She said this to Lenu. Sometimes I don't like you, Lenu. You diminish everything and everyone, even people who are lovable if you just look at them. What I find most interesting about the book is the characters. It's not just Elena and Lila. The boys in the story are also compelling. There is so much description of Lenu's inner thoughts, her reason behind each decision she makes. It makes me realize how complicated people can be beneath a calm surface. This book is teaching me to see characters and maybe even real people in a deeper way. I still don't know what will happen next to any of them, but I will keep reading. My cat want me to play with her. Okay. I finished the book, The Story of a New Name. It's a long read. The characters are so compelling that they kept me turning the pages. The characters are definitely the most interesting part of the book. I will try not to spoil anything. The last part of the story focuses on Lila's marriage and her complicated experience with love. I won't go into details because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But so much happens to her. So many changes. Once you see everything she goes through, her courage becomes incredibly moving. Lila and Lenu end this book in very different places. Lenu finishes college and gets a chance to publish her book. Though I still feel that her insecurity remains a big part of who she is. Throughout the story, Lila's strength and courage really stand out, while Lenu often seems to need external validation to feel secure. And of course, the environment shapes them too, which is another powerful theme of the book. The novel made me think a lot. The everyday moments combined with the characters' personal growth are surprisingly powerful. Even though it's long, I'm really glad I read it. That's it for this book. I will definitely continue the next two in the Neapolitan series. I hope you found something interesting to read too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!